So, and before going to the session, I'm your instructor. I'm a working security professional having 5 years of experience in a cybersecurity. I have worked in both offensive and defensive security mechanism. I was worked in a SOC team. I was worked in VAPT. I also worked in a red teaming assessment, and I was a offensive security certified person and CH practical person. Okay. Let us we quickly say about the introduction of cybersecurity and introduction of penetration testing. Okay, so bug bounty, you all know, finding a vulnerability and reporting the vulnerability. So what is penetration testing? Bug bounty is the same. Okay, to finding the vulnerabilities in application. So generally in IT, not even in a bug bounty, so generally in IT there is a two part of work scenario. One is developing, another one is testing. So this two is the part of work scenario most of the time. Okay, if you are a web application developer, mobile application, API, thick client, even data analytics, it also be a kind of a development. Okay, next one is a testing. Okay, functional testing, load testing, performance testing, selenium testing, penetration testing. So multiple testing method modules also there, like how the web application, mobile application, API building, likewise different testings also there. In a selenium in a load testing of the application, the tester will give the maximum load to the application to find how long the application can withstand. So in functional testing of the application, the tester will give check the functions of the application, whether all the features and functions of the applications are working fine or not. Okay, like all the testings. But in the part of penetration testings, not all the persons can able to do it a penetration testing. The persons who having a knowledge in offensive security, who having the knowledge in hacking, they can only able to perform the penetration testings. Okay, so I'll tell you how this penetration testing is differ from all the testings. In functional testing, tester will check the function of the application. In load testing, tester will check the load capacity of the applications. In penetration testing, tester, okay, possibly find the way to get inside the application. What are all the ways to get inside the application? What are the possible ways to get inside or to make the damage to the application? So that is what penetration testing. Bug bounty is also the part of penetration testing. Okay, so bug bounty is one among the part of penetration testing. So before going to start a hacking or even a bug bounty or anything, you have to follow, there is a 5 phases of hackings are there. So this will be quite easy and very powerful for all your testing assessment. Which one is reconnaissance, scanning, gaining access, maintaining access, and covering tracks? I hope some people, some working professionals having an idea of what is reconnaissance, what is scanning, what is gaining access, what is maintaining access, and what is covering tracks. Okay, so now we are clear with what is penetration testing at least. Okay, what is generally penetration testing, what penetration testers can do. So for example, if you are going with any organization, if you want to be a cybersecurity professional, in cybersecurity there will be the two part. One is offensive security, another one is a defensive security. So if you are a defensive security, probably you work in a CSIRT team, SOC team. So your job is to secure your organization from the attack. So that is the part of defensive security. So probably you will monitor all the security incidents, events, logs, everything what happening in your environment. So this is the job of defensive security and SOC engineers. If you want to be an offensive security analyst, so offensive security is the part you have to play the role of hacker to find the weakness. Okay, in defensive security you will protect. Okay, you watch all the logs. Okay, you monitor the instance, events, everything into your organization to make them secure. If something suspiciously any activities can happen into your network, you have to take an action. You have to remove the uh, scenario. Okay, you have to fix all the suspicious event in your environment. So this will be your job in defensive security. But if you want to become a offensive security, you want to become a penetration tester or a red teamer, possibly you should have to be perform the role of hacker to find the weakness. Okay, so in the part of penetration testing, what you have to do, you have to find the weakness in the way of hacker. So for example, just consider, so I'm the person working in XYZ company. So in this XYZ company, they're having an application. So what will be my job? So my job is to test their application, test their internal infrastructure, so test their networks and everything. before exploitation. Okay, so before exploitation, if I test the application and if I found there is a critical vulnerability, means I inform that vulnerabilities to my development team. So my development team will make a patch over the vulnerabilities. So generally I'll tell you what is vulnerability. Vulnerability is a weakness. Okay, so first we clear with these terms, next we come to the phases and we see something practically after that. Okay, so first one, vulnerability is a weakness. Next, what is exploit? Taking advantage of the any vulnerability of a system in the process. Okay, taking advantage over the vulnerability is the exploit. In more, exploit is the object in cybersecurity. Okay, exploit is the object which is used to uh, break the vulnerability. For example, we will go with a story. So consider there is a house. Okay, consider there is a house. There is a one thief who planning to get into the house. So what the thief will do, he possibly check what are all the possible ways to get inside the house. In that time, no thief, most of the persons will not prefer the main gate, because most of the securities will be available in the main gate. So now the thief is totally coming around the house. He found there is a 40 windows in the house. Okay, among the 40 windows, one window is completely made of glass. Is it possible to break the glass, or it is really difficult to break the glass? Yes, it is really easy to break. Okay, so that glass is a vulnerability. That glass is a threat entry point, because if someone break the glass, then it will be easy for them to get inside the house. That glass is the vulnerability, that is a weakness, because in every window it having a wood grill. In our house also, in our room also, we have the window, it contains wood grill. Okay, it doesn't allow the person to enter, but you just consider there is a only glass window. Now that glass is the vulnerability. The thief taking one stone to break the glass. Okay, the thief taking one stone to break the glass. That stone is exploit. So vulnerability is the weakness. Exploit is the object which is used to take advantage over the weakness. So after penetration testing, we can see the phases. That will be make you very easy. It is easy really for you to understand what happening. So I'll give you another example for the penetration testing. Okay, so penetration testing is a scenario. It is a testing. It is not like all the common testing. It is quite different from other testings, because if you want to do a penetration testing job, only the person who have a knowledge in hacking, who use their knowledge to exploit something, they only can able to do penetration testing. Simply, I'll give you one example. So consider there is a bus. Okay, and I locked two doors. Okay, in front and back there will be two doors available in bus now. So I locked those two doors, and I asked you to enter into the bus. That is your task. So how will you enter? What are all the possible ways? Okay, I locked two doors and your task is to get inside the bus. So these are the possible ways. Okay, so the answer you are telling is correct. Okay, from windows we can able to enter. So if there is a big gap in the windows, we can able to get inside the bus, or using the emergency door. If we possibly we can able to open the emergency door, we can able to get inside the bus, or the driver door. Okay, in driver seat also there will be a door. So using that door also we can able to get inside the bus. Or like the sunroof, if the bus having the sunroof with open, using the sunroof we can able to get inside the bus. Okay, or see, I have locked the bus. So for example, if I not properly lock the bus, then what happened, you can take advantage over that. Okay, you can remove the lock and you can get inside the bus. So if the lock is very weak, very old, you can able to break it. Okay, or if I lock the bus and I keep the place the key near to the lock, means using the key itself you can able to get inside the get open the lock and get inside the bus. Okay, so these are the possible ways to get inside the bus, and this is what actually a penetration testing. So in penetration testings, developers will develop the application. Okay, and your role is the same. Okay, so developer will develop the application and provide you the application with a normal production, and your task, you have to play the role of hacker. You have to find what are all the possible ways to get inside the application. Okay, like through command execution or SQL injection or any authentication bypass or any privilege escalation. So what are all the issues you can able to take advantage over the application? What all the misconfiguration the developer did in the application, possibly you can take the advantage. So this is what actually penetration testing. Okay, so bug bounty is also the part of penetration testing. I'll tell you the very clear difference between a bug bounty and penetration testing. In penetration testing, for example, if I'm a person working in a company XYZ, and just take the scenario, my company is a product based company and they having application, means my job is to secure the application. I have to rapidly do the penetration testing. I have to actively do penetration testing for all the productions, all the month, okay, to make our application into very secure. That is penetration testing. In bug bounty hunting, okay, here I am not the permanent employee to the organization. Okay, instead of that, let us we take any application as the reference. We take a Facebook as the reference. Okay, I am working in a some XYZ company. I am a security researcher. I found there is a security misconfiguration is in the Facebook application. Now if I find the Facebook I found the vulnerability in a Facebook application, if possibly if I report that vulnerability to the Facebook team, they acknowledge my finding. So this is what bug bounty. So bug bounty means reward. Okay, so first of all, if I report a security vulnerability, based on the security vulnerability I report, so for example, if I report a low level vulnerability, I get the acknowledgement. Or if it mid level, means I get some swags like t-shirts and hoodie. These things I'll get from the team. Or if I've exploited a really big vulnerability like SQL injection or a remote code execution or a privilege escalation, they will give me the reward to acknowledge my knowledge. Okay, so this is what bug bounty. So in a penetration testing, you have to do a complete testing over the application. In bug bounty, now here you are not the permanent employee, you are a security researcher. You are testing the application and you find some vulnerability. Through the vulnerability you report to this company, and they will give acknowledgement to your finding, either by the acknowledgement mail or swags or the reward. So this is what actually bug bounty. So now I hope you got the role of penetration tester. Okay, so penetration tester means you are the penetration tester. You have to test the application thoroughly. That is the role of penetration tester. In bug bounty hunter, as a bug bounty hunter, you are not the permanent employee to the organization, but you are the security researcher. You find something suspicious, you find something unusual in the application, you are making a report. So this is what bug bounty hunting. And some people will think like doing a bug bounty is like moonlighting. So we are working in one company but we are finding an vulnerability in another application, means that will be not like a moonlighting. Because even some of the peoples will ask me like, see, doing bug bounty hunting is moonlighting, means no. Or okay, it is not it will be not even the part of freelancing. Okay, so you are finding a issue. Okay, you are telling them to fix it. For your findings, for your effort, they are giving you the acknowledgement. Okay, so this is property correct. Okay, so there are many types of penetration testing. So there like web application penetration testing, mobile application, API, thick client network, SCADA, IoT based in RF hardware based penetration testing. I'll give you the very short clarity about this. Okay, so we can categorize this all into three kind of sorry, not kind, so three modules of penetration testing, like application security. Okay, so in application security there is a web application, mobile application, API, and the client applications are there. Okay, so these will be comes under application based penetration testing, like web application penetration testing, mobile application penetration testing, API penetration testing, and the client penetration testing. So in network it will be like in network based penetration testing, like network infrastructure based penetration testing. So this infrastructure and network based penetration testing will be the major part of a red teaming based assessment. So if we have a time in end of the session, possibly I can also tell you what is red teaming. If you want to become a red teamer, how you can do that. And wireless and IoT based hacking and security also there, like hardware pen testing, RF based penetration testing, sorry, RF radio frequency based penetration testing, SCADA. Next, car penetration testing, and even ATM penetration testing is also there. Okay, so if you ask me a question like if I want to be a penetration tester, then I have to learn all this technology means not necessary. Okay, if you want to be a penetration tester, at least you have to be clear with one sort of penetration testing. Either you, if you're clear with the web application penetration testing, through your web application pen testing knowledge, you can able to get a job. If you're having a knowledge or experience in a mobile application penetration testing, you have, through your mobile application pen testing knowledge, you get a job. Like same. Okay, if you have an experience in network scanning, network enumeration means you get a network security job. Or if you have the core knowledge of exploiting infrastructure in active directory or LDAP, you are a red teamer, you are a highly paid resource. Okay, so this kind of penetration testings are there, but before choosing any penetration testing assessment, you should have to be very clear with that. So for example, if you want to be a web application penetration tester, you have to be very clear with the web application fundamentals, how gently the web application is working, how the web application is developed, and how the web application is deployed. Okay, so developing, we all know. Okay, so developer develop the application. So in deployment, where they host the application. Okay, so for example, if developer develop the application very securely, we can't able to find any vulnerabilities, we can't able to exploit anything in that application, that much securely develop the developer develop the application. But once after the developing, the deployment team have hosted that application into the server. The server is vulnerable to remote code execution or any exploitation. Means what happened, attacker easily exploit the server and get the entire application control. Okay, so this is why in penetration testing, you not only have to focus on the part of coding, you also need to focus on the part of how securely they hosted the application. That is really important. And most people will ask me like, to be a bug bounty hunter or a penetration tester, is the programming languages necessary? Means nothing is necessary. Okay, if you learn a programming language, that will be your advantage. Say for example, if I want to perform any attack, okay, I want to make the process into automate, means that time my programming knowledge help me to make the process into automate. If I don't know, that doesn't mean I can't able to perform the assessment. Even with or without programming knowledge, we can able to perform the penetration testing assessment. But you have to understand the business logic of application. That is really important. See, Facebook is a web application, Amazon is a web application, Zomato is a web application. Is all the three web application working in the same manner? No. The business logic of this application is totally different. Facebook is a social media platform, so we can use for a chat and communicate with the peoples. In Amazon, that is e-commerce based platform. Okay, so where we can buy our product or sell the products. And Zomato, so where we can order the foods. See, for example, I want to make the complete payment security, payment gateway security. But if I'm trying to do a payment security assessment in a Facebook, it will be work or not. So generally for the users, for the common users, there will be no payment option in a Facebook. So I can't able to use that scenario in the Facebook application. Okay, so this is how you have to find the application business logic. That is really important. So what is this application? What is the core of this application? So that knowledge you'll gain only through the experience. Most people are thinking like, okay, so okay, in one day, we if we practice everything, we become a bug bounty hunter, we become a penetration tester. Nothing like that. Nothing can come in a one day. If you put an effort, sure, you'll you'll get a more succeed. Okay, because even in my starting, when I like to start a bug bounty hunting or a penetration testing, honestly, I was started learning hacking in the year of 2014. So simply I got inspired from movies. I was an average or not even average, I was a below average student in my academic wise. Okay, so I got inspired from the movies, like how the hackers hack into the systems in the period of 2013-14. That time Facebook is a very major social media platform. Okay, so the thing which motivates me to learn hacking means, if we learn this technology, we can able to get into anyone computer, we can able to get into anyone's social media account. If we learn this technology, we can change our university grades, we can change our school grades. So this motivates me to learn a hacking, learn a penetration testing. But after 1 year only, okay, I completely, in the time of the 2014, I completely search over many social media application, YouTube, I read many write-ups, blogs, everything. Okay, I practiced most of the thing not to work, it doesn't work. So after 1 year only, I came to know the actual difference between hacking in a real life, in hacking in movies. Okay, but if you, so in that time I start putting effort, that time I start putting effort, so that only makes me to do a very good penetration testing to pass the very hardest global certification. This knowledge only helped me. Okay, so be a patient, learn everything logically, so nothing more than that theoretical and something. Okay, so I hope you all know with penetration testing, so we can see the phases of penetration test needs to be a hacker that we, if we have a time, we can discuss later. So phases of hacking or phases of pen testing. So we can take into two part. This is really important because to be a penetration testing, to start to do a penetration testing assessment or a bug bounty hunting, some people will directly go and test for the XSS attack or SQL injection or any other attacks. It will be not good. Everything should have to be aligned in a, and everything should have to be in a proper format. Then only we can able to get a succeed over that. See, first one is a reconnaissance. What is reconnaissance is information gathering. So for example, see that here I have one target. If I want to test my target, I have to get the information about my target. See, for example, if I'm not even getting any possible information about my target, means how can I exploit that? So reconnaissance is information gathering, that is really important. Just for example, we take this as our target. Okay, we are not going to exploit this site, we are going to exploit the different sites. Just for example, we take this one. Okay, so this Anna University, great. See, for example, we take this Anna University website. So in one of the time I was from the same university. It's a great university, but due to the examination, the result, I never like my university or any sites which publishing the result, I never like that. Okay, so this Anna University is a website. Okay, why this Anna University is a website? It is a website means it is a static page. There is a two status. Okay, one is static, another one is dynamic. Static won't change, dynamic change. Dynamic change in any moment, static won't change. See, this IIT Madras, Anna University, these are the website. Okay, see, for example, now you tell me, see, these contents are running, it is a dynamic, means this will be not considered as a dynamic. Okay, so this is the general contents running in the application. See, is this application is getting input and processing over the user input? No, they simply have the page. For example, if I go with the research park, it's showing IIT Madras research park. Okay, when I click this IIT Madras research park, see what happened? It take me to that URL. That's all. It take me to that URL. Okay, not any very big business functionality running over this application, over this website. For example, if I take Amazon, this Amazon is a web application. Why Amazon is a web application? It is totally dynamic. It is purely dynamic. For example, if I search for a MacBook Pro, if I search for a MacBook Pro, what happened? It's showing the result which is related to MacBook Pro. Now, the very clear difference between this Anna University and Amazon is this Amazon is getting user input and processing the user input. So, what are all the site is getting user input and processing over the user input, that will be considered as the web application. Now, this Anna University is getting the user input. So here I'm giving the input MacBook Pro and it processing the input and it's showing the result basis on my search. Okay, not only the search box. See, in this Amazon application, so if you go to this IIT Madras site or Anna University site, for we all it will be look similar, but for Amazon slightly it will be similar. But what happened when I log into my Amazon account? What happened? My preference will come. So my previous order, what all the items I have searched in Amazon, if you log in with your account, it will comes behalf of you. Okay, so what all the inputs they're getting the search box. Here we can able to create an account, we can able to sign in, we can able to buy the product, sell the product, add product to our cart, we can able to give the address. There is a map functionality also here, order return summary, payment gateway summary. Okay, many things will be here in Amazon. Okay, so it will be not a static, it is totally a dynamic. So this Amazon is a web application and this normal anonymous IIT Madras is the websites. So have you all clear with this web application and website? I hope everybody clear. So for example, let us we come to the topic reconnaissance. Reconnaissance means information gathering. So for example, if this annauniversity.edu is my target, first what I have to do, I have to get information about my target. If I'm not even getting any proper information about my target, then what happened? I don't know then what is this application, how it is working, how to exploit, what all the possible ways. Okay, so to get information about the target, there are many possible ways to get information about the target. I am using the very basic one, like who is hosting this. Okay, this is for example I am telling, but in real time scenario, penetration testers will have multiple methods to get information about the target. Okay, so for example, if I'm going with this who is hosting this. Okay, so here I'm giving the domain name and I need the edu. Okay, it's showing okay, these are the information, the domain registry based information it's showing when the domain was registered, the name servers, okay, when it is updated, when the domain will get expired. So this information it's showing. Okay, so generally reconnaissance is nothing but a information gathering. So next one is the scanning. Okay, scanning also information gathering. Then how this scanning is differ from reconnaissance? See, both scanning and reconnaissance are the information gathering. Then how scanning is different? Both are information gathering generally. Reconnaissance is like a gathering publicly available information. So for this information, we're not touching any servers. Okay, so we are not doing any scanning from the source we are getting online. We getting this information. So for example, I'm going with this add-on. So it's showing what is the frameworks libraries they are using in the application. The front end they are using jQuery and also disclosing the version UI frameworks. Okay, so if I go to this website, it's showing what is the backend technology they are using. So this everything it is finding. We are not scanning or we are not sending any packet to receiving this information. We just getting all this information on in only in online. Okay, if I go with this general Google search, if I search for a university, I'll get their domain and their possible informations like Wikipedia, their social media profiles like LinkedIn profile, Instagram, Twitter, and their Skillshare profiles about their news. Okay, this information we can get publicly in online. This is reconnaissance. Scanning is a sensitive information gathering. So scanning is like a sensitive information gathering. So like what is the C in basically in this who is hosting this, it's showing the name server, this is the name server, this is the name server. We don't know what is the exact server, what in which server this application is hosted on. Either it might be IA server or Nginx server or Apache server. If it is hosted on a Nginx server, then what will be the version? Okay, what are the ports open in the server? Okay, what is the service running on the port? What is the version of the service? So these are the sensitive information gathering. This information will have the high chance to exploit into the application. It is based on the information, it is based on the service they are using. So for example, even most people are thinking like if there is an open port, then it is easy to hack. Not like that. No port open is a vulnerability, because only once we open the port, then only we can able to use the service, we can able to use the communication. But the thing how securely the administrator configure the port, that is really important. If there is a port open but the administrator is properly configured all the security mechanism in the port, then it is not a vulnerable. Okay, then it will be secure. Okay, so this is the difference between reconnaissance and scanning. Reconnaissance information gathering, scanning sensitive information gathering. Third one is a gaining access. So for example, here I'm testing a XYZ website. First I did a reconnaissance, I get basic information of that XYZ application. Next I perform the scanning. So in the scanning, I'll get the sensitive information about the target. What is the server they are using? What is the backend operating system they are using? And is they are using any domain controller or not? Okay, or any other informations like their ports, okay, their servers, their applications. So these are the sensitive information. So I also perform the scanning. Next, where I can go is for the third one, gaining access. In gaining access, majorly the information what I collected from the scanning. So using that application, I try to exploit the application. Once after exploitation, I'll get the application access. That one is the gaining access. Okay, in scanning we get all the possible information over the target. So using those sensitive information, for example, if they are using if the when in scanning, if I found the SSH key is disclosing, okay, if their SSH private key is disclosing, means using that SSH private key I can able to get into the SSH shell of the server. Okay, so this is what in scanning. Okay, so now what I can able to do, I can able to get access of this server. This is just for example. If they are if they are using any older version of server, if I exploit the server, if there is an exploit available for the version, means using that exploit, I can able to break into the server and I can get the control over the application. Okay, so this is the big step between scanning and gaining access. The very major big part in between scanning and gaining access is the exploitation. First, in a reconnaissance, we get the common information. In scanning, we get the sensitive information. Through the sensitive information, once we collect, we have to map everything and we have to do the exploitation. Once if the exploitation can happen, then we got the gaining access. We got access to the server. Okay, and fourth part also really important, which is maintaining access. So in the term of maintaining access, what happened, most of the peoples will not follow the same. Okay, so this is the method of persistence. Okay, see, I'm connected over with my target. Okay, when I'm working with my target, that time suddenly there is a there is inter disconnect connectivity between me and my target. So for example, if there is a power loss, my Wi-Fi gets switched off, then what happened, I lose the session. Okay, or either if my target goes to offline, that time also I lose the session. Okay, see, if we want to hack any object, any device, both attacker and victim should have to be present in online. Even any one object will goes offline, then the connection will be disrupted. Okay, see, some unexpected due to any errors, if my connection got disrupted, means what I have to do, I have to perform the exploitation once again. So that is why I perform the maintaining access scenario. So through this maintaining access, even I got terminate from my session, using this maintaining access, I can able to get this session back once again easily, because I have performed the persistence method. And last one is a covering tracks. Okay, so in a covering tracks, once if I complete all my assessment, when I'm coming from the target, I have to clear all my logs, because everything in the system will be stored in the logs, what all the activities happening. So for example, if you're taking your system remote, that log also will be stored in your system. Okay, so as an attacker, if I exploit anything, okay, it may be application or server or systems, when I'm coming out from the device, I have to delete my logs. So this is phase of hacking. I hope you all very clear with all the theory. So we can see something practically no. Okay, see for example, so okay, we'll see completely what is SQL injection. We can do one exploration using the SQL injection in a live website. Okay, so first SQL injection, we all know SQL. SQL is a structured query language which is used to construct and maintain database in the applications. Okay, so generally there is a two possible exploitation can be happen in a SQL injection. One is authentication bypass, and next one is information disclosure. Okay, these two things we can perform through SQL injection. One is authentication bypass. Next one is extracting data from the database. Okay, so this two. Now we are going to perform this authentication bypass using SQL injection. I hope some of you will have an idea of authentication bypass. Some peoples will know the queries. Okay, we practically see how to create this query and what exactly this can do. So for this activity, I'm choosing any website randomly. URL admin.php. Okay, so there are some websites. So I'm just taking this all website randomly. Okay, see for example, we take any of the site as the example. Okay, so public college someone. Okay, so now we search for the admin login page. We got some possible admin login pages in the Google. Okay, so now it asking for the username and password. So we do know what is the username, what is the password. But here, if this application is vulnerable to SQL injection, we can able to bypass this authentication. Okay, let us we practically see how we are going to bypass this authentication. Before that, we have to understood how generally the SQL can works. Okay, so this structure query language, so the role of the structure query language, how it works, in the name itself it have query. So how queries will work? Queries will work based on the conditions. Okay, if it is true, it will work. It will, if it is not true, then it will won't work. So queries will work based on the booleans, true or false. The very core of the exploiting SQL injection is the boolean, true or false. That is really important. Okay, if it works, it will not, it will execute. If it is not proper, it will not execute. Okay, so how we can declare true or false, and before that I will show you how generally the logins can work. So probably if you see this, you can able to understand how this SQL injection is working in real time. Just wait, I'm sharing my screen. I'm opening a paint application in another VM. uh, Probably this one is a user. If user is entering the ID password into the application, first it will go to the where web server. Okay, so consider this is a web server. Okay, and this is application server, and finally we take one SQL server. Okay, so for this scenario we consider this one is the Facebook application. Okay, so we consider this is a Facebook application, and this is user, and this is a web server. Okay, and this one is application server, and this one is database. How generally the authentication is work, we'll see it. So first, when user entering the user ID password into the application, what happened, the first it send the request to the Facebook web server. Okay, now what this Facebook web server will do, this Facebook web server will send the request to the Facebook internal application server. Okay, so this internal application only send the request to the database server. Here the role of this application server is quite critical, which is database server. SQL doesn't know. For example, if I'm logging with the username admin password admin 123 means database will not identify admin 123. SQL only understand the queries. It never understand the words or anything. It only understand the queries. Now what this application server has to do, application server has to convert the username and password into the SQL queries, and then only it sends the request to the database server. Now this database server will receive the SQL queries. Okay, after that, okay, if the first it will check the username whether this username is existing in the server or not. Okay, so this username is existing. Next it will check the password, so the password for the username is correct or not. Okay, if both are correct, then this SQL will send the success notification to the application server. This application will send user account to the web server. This web server will load our profile in the browser. So this is what exactly happening in the login. Now in part of this SQL injection, part of this authentication bypass, what attackers can do is attackers itself create their own query. In real time scenario, who will create the query? Application server only creates the query. Okay, because why application server needs to convert user input as a query, because SQL will not understand the common language, it understand only the query. So application server have to convert the user inputs into a SQL query. But in case of this SQL injection, in case of this authentication bypass, you attacker itself create that malicious query and send it to the web server. Web server will process that queries to the application server. If the application server will not properly validate the user input, if instead of proper validation, it will directly send the user input to the database server. What happened, the database will understand. Okay, okay, so this query is correct. Okay, if attacker create any query for the true statement means database server what it think, okay, the information we are getting is a true, so we are telling the application is true notification. Okay, once if the application will got the true notation, then it share the user profile with the web server will load user profile in the browser. So this is what exactly happened in the SQL injection. But even we can go more in depth on it, but we're not having a time, we can see practically. Okay, see now this application is asking the username and password. Okay, I'll just write a basic SQL statement how it look like in a backend. So maybe select anything from the anything from username equal to. So now they'll get the input, and next, and there is another input this application is getting from the user is the password. Okay, username and password, these two input this application is getting from the user, and password equal to. Okay, the reason I'm putting the two single quotes in username and password is to mention as a string. Okay, because anytime the developer will getting input from the user, they will take input as a string only, because string only never execute. Instead of that, if they are getting input as a different data type, means it will if there is a chance for execution, if it is execute, then any malicious thing can happen. See, now this application is asking username and password in the interface. See, for example, if I enter the username here in admin means, so for example, that will be look like this. Okay, so this two single quote, this one single quote and this single quote are present in backend of the code. Okay, not we can able to see in the browser, it is in the backend. Okay, so this everything like this first single quote will be in front of the box, and second single quote will be in end of the box. So this is how look like. Okay, so the queries, what are all the values we are giving, it will be look like this. Okay, so here only we are going to write the SQL queries, SQL payloads. Okay, so anything username we enter, it will be look like this. Okay, so before writing SQL payload, what I tell, structure query language. So how query works reference only from the boolean. What is boolean? True or false. Okay, how we can define true or false? Is there any logical statement for true or false? Means yes, there is some logical statements for the true or false. The very basic is a AND gate and OR gate. Exactly, in our gate any one of the condition might be true, output is true, but in AND gate both the statement will have to be remains true, then only output will comes true. So simply the OR gate refers to addition, AND gate refers to multiplication. So here I'm just writing the below like 0 or 0 equal to. Okay, so 0 or 0. So R refers to what? Addition. Okay, so 0 plus 0, what is the output? 0 plus 0. Okay, 0 plus 1, 1. 1 plus 0, 1. Plus 1, 1. Commonly 2, but in gate wise it is 1. Okay, so this is what in R gate. And now AND gate. So AND gates refers to multiplication. Okay, so 0 multiplied by 0, what will come? What is the answer? 0. Okay, 0 into 1, 0. 1
Yeah.
into 0, 0. By anything multiplied by 0, it will be 0. See, in our gate, okay, so now we take this 0 refers to false. Okay, 0 to false. And 1 refers to true. Okay, see, now in our gate, if both conditions are true, okay, sorry, in our gate, if both conditions are false, then output is false.
Yes.
First condition will be false and next condition will be true, then output is true.
True.
So by first condition will be true, second condition will be false, output is true. If both condition will be true, output will be true. This is what in R get. So we take additional as the example. Okay, so now AND gate, if both conditions are false, then output will be false. One false, one true, output will be false. One true, one false, output will be false. If both conditions are true, then only output will become true. Okay, so now we create a payload. See, for example, here I am giving the username as a test. Okay, so for your reference, for example, I'm giving the space here, it is not necessary, just for example. Okay, I hope you know understand about these two single quotes. These two single quotes are in front and back of the box, that is totally in a backend. Now what all the inputs we are giving, it look like this in a backend. Now here I am giving the username test. Okay, and I'm giving the single quote here manually in my code. Okay, I am giving the username test and manually I'm giving single quote. See, generally the single quote is open here and here the single quote is closed, which means the string is closed. String will never execute. But here what happened, after test I am giving one single quote manually. So what it makes, it makes the single quote will close up to this. Got it? Now this single code will compromise with this single code. Now the what is the username? Test. Okay, so is this single quote will be considered as the username or not? It never
No.
consider the single quote as the user input. Okay, it consider this single quote as the reference to close the string. Okay, it never consider this single quote as the username. Instead of that, it takes the single quote as the reference to close the string. Okay, now we are it's okay. Now username is test. Okay, we are not sure about username, might be test or anything, either might be admin or my name or your name or any common server name, anything. Now what I am doing, I am forcing the application, I am going to use R gate. Okay, here I am giving R gate like R1. Okay, so this is the first statement. Okay, and this is the sorry, this is the first condition. This one is the second condition. Means we are not sure about the first condition. Okay, so we are telling test is the username, it might be true or false, so even we consider the test is false, but the second condition which I am giving here is refers to what? This one refers to true. Okay, see here, even the first condition might be false, the second condition, even the first condition is false, the second condition will be true. What will be the output? True. Okay, I am giving same equal to true. Okay, so here I give this code. Now totally how many single quotes are in this field? Totally how many single quotes are in this field? So totally 7 single quote. We know the first single quote and this last single quote present in backend of the application, and remaining these 5 single quotes we given manually in our payload. Okay, now what the single quotes will do, this single quote is compromised with this single quote, and this single quote will compromise with this one, and this one is compromised, and the last single quote which is present in the server will be remains single. Okay, if there is a odd value, then the query will never execute, it should have to be even. Now what we can do to compromise the single quote, either we can give another single quote or we do one thing. Okay, we are going to comment this single quote. Okay, see what is commenting. What happened when we comment something in a programming? That line will never consider in the programming. That is presented, but that will never consider. So in SQL, you can give the comment like hyphen hyphen space hyphen or hyphen hyphen plus. Many commenting methods are there in SQL. So now our payload is ready. Okay, which means finally this command refers to ignore. Okay, after the command that will be ignored. Okay, so after the command, the signal code will be ignored. So I'm giving the same payload in the password also. In the password, I'm giving the same payload. So now what is the output of username? What is the condition it have? It have true or false? Or
True.
username? It remains true. Okay. And for the password, also remains the true. But in between the username and password, there is a one statement is there, which is and. Okay. So username and password. So username remains true and password remains true. So now there is a and operator here. Okay, what will be 1 and 1? 1 and 1 refers to both conditions are true, so output will be true. Finally, when we substitute our payload, it will be remains true. So I'm copying the same payload I'm giving here in the username and password. Login. Yeah, it is login as admin user. Okay, so courier entry, view couriers. Hmm. Manage news, upload scans. Okay, interesting. I'm giving the same payload here. So this application will not taking this payload, else we have to give another payload. After completing all the payload only, we can finalize whether this application is vulnerable or not. Okay, so here this courier application will be interesting. Okay, we are going to this public college summon. Yeah, it too getting login. So list of registered students submit their fees. List of registered student not submit their fees. Interesting. Okay, so have you all clear what exactly happens here? Okay, now if it is a proper application, it should have to validate the user code. Okay, now I'm not giving the user input. Okay, I'm giving the SQL statement. Okay, I'm giving SQL query payloads to the application. If this is a proper application, it should have to validate, but what this application did, it not even validate properly. So here attacker make perform the authentication by bypass. So this is what happened in the SQL injection. So that is why SQL injection is critical. Okay, see, if you give the same payload and test it on a Facebook, Instagram, Amazon application, it won't work because this codes and everything will be fixed. See, even some of the applications which still remains to SQL injection vulnerability, but if you give this code, it won't work. See, for example, here, why we are giving the single code? To close the first single quote, to close the string. So what if it might be a double quote? This two might be a double quote. Then if I give a single quote, then what happened? It will never close. It will still take this all single quote and comment everything as a string only. So in that time, what I have to give? I have to give the double quote. Now you have a question. How do I know whether it using a single quote or double quote? Means that we can't, we're not able to find. Okay, we have to give a different set of payloads. So for this all payloads, I hope this resource will completely help you for you in a bug bounty, which is payload all the things. So this GitHub repository is really powerful. All the penetration testers will use the same repository. Okay, so here in this GitHub repository, you can get payloads for multiple vulnerabilities, multiple exploitations. So for example, here I'm coming to SQL injection. Yes. So here in this SQL injection, there is a multiple things. Okay, I'm I'm just checking authentication bypass payload. Yeah, for authentication bypass, see, there are many payloads are here. I hope now you can able to at least understand what this payload remains to, what is the meaning of the payload. Okay, so you can check all the payloads. So some payloads will work, even not all the payload will work, then that application remains secure. Okay, so this is how to test the application. And to be a bug bounty hunter, the very strong platform I can refer you is a Bugcrowd, and next one is HackerOne. Okay, Bugcrowd. So here, this is an open bug bounty program. Okay, so this Bugcrowd, and next one is a HackerOne. So these two are the open bug bounty program. So for example, if I'm a business owner, I'm having the company, I'm having the application, I have an internal cybersecurity team, but still I'm not getting a satisfy. I am challenging public to hack my application. If public will hack my application, I will give the reward to them. I'll give reward to them. I found how they hack into the application, and I make my application very secure. So next time no one can hack my application in that way. Okay, so this is the general reference of bug bounty, and this is why most of the company list their applications in this bug road hackathon platforms, so where you can find a vulnerability, and once you exploit, you can direct through this hackathon, you can directly report that vulnerability. So your client will give you an acknowledgement either by a mail or a swags or any gift vouchers or even a money. Okay, see, now I'm just searching for. Now, if you search for any vulnerability, you can able to get the write-ups how the attackers exploit the SQL injection in different ways. See, for example, if you instead of watching any tutorials or reading any blogs, here in this Bugcrowd or HackerOne, you can able to see how they actually bypass this authentications. Okay, so if you want to search for a parameter tampering or OS command injection or remote code execution, if you search for that, so here you can see the write-ups how they really exploited to what application. But if you test this payload in the same application right now, it won't work because once if it is fixed, then only they release this one. Okay, see, now this person has exploited skill injection in a WordPress. So here you can able to see how we exploit, not I guess it's a screenshot here, it having some XML things. Okay, you can clearly able to understand. Okay, you can completely read what the person is do, how he exploited, and for each and every bug. So here he also attached the PNG. Okay, admin dashboard. So I'm just opening now. Okay, so here this guy got from Uber. Great. Okay, so when he exploited in June 2016. It was around 7 years back, okay, or 6.5 years back. So the reward he get in that time itself, he get the reward of $10,000. So approximately nowadays it will be 8 lakh rupees, Indian rupee. Okay, so for each and every vulnerability, you'll get a clear walkthrough how they exploit this. Okay, you can some testers will also upload their video. Okay, how they exploited. So you can see the POC video, everything. Okay, so if you find any vulnerability through this, also you can able to create an account. To be an actual penetration tester, you have to remain the same. Okay, so the one logic you have to understand from the application is you have to understand the business logic. If you understand the business logic, then you can able to exploit the application. If you not understand business logic or workflow of the application, it is really difficult to find the vulnerabilities. Okay, because nowadays most of the application, most of the developers will get aware of this vulnerabilities like SQL injection, cross scripting, CSRF, SSRF, file inclusion, code execution, and everything. Okay, but still no application or anything is 100% secure. Okay, so still anything is exploitable, anything is vulnerable to exploit. But the real task, how we are going to find that, even if it is, if there is a secure application, secure operating system, or any platforms, it is challenge for a penetration tester how they are finding in a different way, how they are exploiting that into a different way, how you are making the chain link of attacks. Okay, so that is from my side, team. I hope you all clear with what is bug bounty, what is actually cybersecurity, what is penetration testing, what is exactly bug bounty, why bug bounty is what platform we can use for a bug bounty, why companies are listing for the bug bounties to secure their application more, and to be a bug bounty hunter, what all the knowledge you should have to get. And I hope you all clear with this. Okay, thank you, team.